Alright, guys, welcome back. This is part two of my tier lists for superhero games between 2010 and 2020. And if you're new to this video and wondering why there's already stuff in the tier list, it's because I made a part one. If you want to check out the part one, I'll leave it down low in the description. Um, so if you're new here, from what you're seeing, Super right now has Arkham City, Arkham Origins, DC Online, and Disney Infinity. Sidekick has is Batman, the Telltale series, all by its lonesome. Anti-hero is Captain America, Super Soldier, and Deadpool the video game. And then Who Are You is Avengers, Battle for Earth, Crackdown 2, and Green Lantern, The Rise of the Manhunter. So, if you're new, I'm going to go over it again, how the tier works. Super is obviously the best of the best. I'm talking about your A1 type superhero. If we're looking at it in a superhero sense, like I explained in the first one, you're gonna get your Spider-Mans, your Supermans, your Batmans, your Iron Mans, sidekicks. Because to me, sidekicks are very important. Without sidekicks, some of our heroes would meet their demise. So you get that. I'm almost. I'm borderline great, but I'm under the super shadow. Then you got the anti-hero, who's necessarily not good, but not bad either. They have something that's missing that can make them the best. And then Who Are You is that guy like Kick Ass who comes out and almost gets himself killed. But he puts up a good fight until he gets caught. And then you got Just Go Home, where you, you might get killed out here in the streets. Like you put some people that put on the mask and think that it's easy when it's not. That's that guy. And you just need to go home because it's horrible. You need to fix what's going on, because this ain't working. But anyway, let's get it started. So today, and the list of games are actually pretty good, except for maybe two of them. But all the rest of them, man, we can have. I don't even really have to explain them too much, man. They speak for themselves, how good they are. But let's start it off. This first game of part two, it's gonna have to be Infamous, and it's gonna have to go in Super. The game is just great, man. Has a good story. Uh, Actually, you know what? No. The story kind of upset me. The ending of it upset me, man. And the only reason why it's gonna go in Sidekick right now, because maybe the last video that I make, there might be some shifts here and there. Um, but the ending just like I feel like most people that if you watch the game or you play the game and you beat it, you it's gonna upset you, especially if you play the next two games that are in the series, and I don't want to spoil it for you, like, cause like I can explain the next two without really telling you the ending. But if I tell you the ending of the second one, it's gonna be like, why did they make two more? Like, and and you know how businesses work. Is they're trying to make that dollar, that money, that moolah, that dinero. So of course they're gonna ride that train. And I'm not saying necessarily that the other two are bad. They just ruin the second ending. The second one's ending even worse because it's a bad ending. Like, I mean, there's two different endings and they're both really bad. Like, I mean, and me, I guess I prefer the bad ending, but like most of the time I don't like most of the time bad endings are not that good to me. So like good endings is like they're more satisfying because you had to put in more work or you had to have more self control to not do certain things when you have that type of freedom. Um, but yeah, like it's a great game and it should be in super, but the ending and the two other games kind of ruined it for me, and it's just my opinion on that. Um, cause like it's far away from being a bad game. Matter of fact, it by Metacritic it got an 83% and a user score of 8.6. And I love Infamous games, bro. Matter of fact, I bought my first PlayStation 3 because of Infamous. I heard about it, I needed to try it, I got it. Um, I beat it within that week. Um, and it was the good ending. Like I beat it, did the good ending. I'm always that person where I don't like replaying like unless it's totally different story. If you go bad, like like Red Dead is a totally different story. Like it's the same ending, but like the stuff that you go through in between the game is totally different than when you're a good guy. Um, Infamous, you pretty much doing the same exact thing, and you get a different cutscene. And the cutscene is not too different. It's just him agreeing to do bad or do good. That's it. Um, the ending is where you're like, okay, it's different because it's not. It's kind of like flash, flash art. So like it's not really the ending in the sense where it's a cutscene. It's like a movie cutscene. It's literally flash, which I mean, that's not a downer. Like it's good art. It's not to me. It's not. That's not a bad thing. That's not nothing to mark it down for. Um, but it's just the ending, man. Um, so what's gonna I'm sorry. This is gonna have to join it, and I'm gonna have to go with Infamous First Light. Oh my god. Sorry about that. Yeah, First Light is the same thing. I mean, she has different powers, and that's cool. But like I said, or like I'm gonna say, all it's like it's just like a different. It's just feels like they put a different shade of Cole, or the protagonist of the first two games. I mean, like, you know how like in Infamous 1 and 2 he can use his electrical abilities to kind of hover to the next building. Well, this uh, this protagonist in First Light, she can do the same thing but just with light. So there's no different. Um, the story's good though. But this is just a prequel of Second Son, and you're getting to meet her. Like, you play Second Son first, you meet her, and you try to either help her or warp her to the bad side, whatever you choose. Um, but you kind of learn her story. So for her, she doesn't have that mechanic. There's no good or bad. There's already a set story because she's like a major plot point in your growth in Second Son. So I mean, like all three of these games deserve to be in Super. It's just that ending for Infamous 2 just kills everything for me. Like like these two people shouldn't even exist. Like, I feel like these two games shouldn't exist. But like I said, if they can make that money, Sony can make that money off of it. But you kind of understand why they haven't made a new one since 2014. Cause like it got not a bad reception, but not a good enough reception for Infamous. I mean, like, if you look at it, the metric Metacritic for Infamous First Son is 80% and a user score of 8.0, but Infamous 2 is 83% with a user score of 8.6. And to me, the user scores, like I said in my part 1 video, I feel like it's the most important because it's us, it's the people, and we're going and we're telling you this is actually pretty good. Don't listen to, um, you know, like, don't listen to what culture, you know what I'm saying, article about it, because, or not even what culture, like they're not even on that level yet. It's maybe like Game Informer, where you got that one reporter that played it, and he might have not enjoyed it, and he gives it a bad score, um, that it doesn't deserve. Because to me, those scores are much deserved, but that has nothing to do with like the story is cool, but it doesn't make sense because of how Infamous 2 ended. Let's just put it that way. And if you want to figure out what I'm saying, just check it out. Go on YouTube it, um, play it, if you have the time. But yeah, I have really too much nothing else to say. Like I said, well, let me add to Second Son. Second Son is cool. It adds I think it might have been between 4 to 6 different power sets, because his power is to take people's power. So he's not necessarily as powerful with each one, but he's one of the strongest strongest characters in Infamous mythos because he can switch on like not on a whim. Like he needs to use if he needs to use neon, he has to be around TVs and lights and electricity and stuff like that. If he needs to use smoke, he needs to be around like furnaces, all that type of stuff to gain those powers back. Because once you suck those powers, you're stuck with those powers until you could find a way to get those powers back. But like I said, like all those powers though, they run like you're playing with Cole because you can hover with every ability that you get. You can hover with them, so it like they all kind of play exactly the same. And then also too, from Infamous 2, he gets a weapon that it's like a current for his abilities, and it's the same way with Second Son, where instead of whatever I don't know what he was using, Cole was using, it was like some metal like pole. It was it kind of looked uh like a pitchfork, but with two heads, not three. And he could he can use his electricity powers to make it flow through that and use it against his enemies. In Second Son, it's kind of the same thing, but instead of like a trident type thing or whatever, or like a pole, like I don't know what it was, but he's using like a biker chain, which is different. But like I said, like it's like you're playing with Cole, um, just different skin and different abilities. Nothing too much to say there. Um, but yeah, this next game, oh man, it's automatic. Automatic. For one, the story's good, the gameplay's good, and this is coming from a person that's not a Mortal Kombat guy. Like I just don't like the engine. I don't like the mechanics. But to me, Injustice 2 kind of perfected the mechanics because instead of using a block button, you can just hold back to block. So they're using the only way I feel like a fighting game should be, because fighting games has been like that for years, centuries, and Mortal Kombat decides to be they want to be different. And that's cool, but I'm not. To me, the buttons need to be made for offense. That's just how I feel. You can't be punching like, you know, and your button accidentally slips, your finger accidentally slips and hits the block button at the wrong period of time. It's just, and then sometimes it's just, you forget about it too, because like say if you're playing another fighting game, like say you're playing like Dragon Ball Z Fighters, or you're playing like Marvel versus Capcom or something like that, or a Street Fighter. Like I said, like all other fighting games, and then you decide, hey, I want to play Mortal Kombat. It's gonna screw with you for a minute, especially if you've been playing. Like you haven't played Mortal Kombat in a minute, and you go in for long. You go in. It's been a long time, and you're playing online. You're gonna forget. I mean, muscle memory is gonna come back, but still, it's just pointless to me. But anyway, Injustice is one of the greatest fighting games to me that I've ever played. Like, I feel like every hero they have down to a key. Um, the story makes sense. It makes a lot of sense where you can understand why characters can go up against Superman. If you read the comics, you really understand, like, because they really don't in depth with it in the games. Like, if you play the first Injustice, um, like one part with Luthor, it explains why he could go up against Superman in a certain scene in the video game. If you haven't played it, I'm not gonna ruin it for you. Go and play the first one. Like, my recommendation is go play the first one first and then play the second one. The second one, though, like, the first one is great. Don't get me wrong. But the second one, the only thing that really irks me about the second one is that they put, like, we understand. Okay, yeah, it's Nether Realms. It's part of it's part of uh these characters are part of that universe, that realm. But, like, they put two. I think they might have put in three. Um, I should know this because I played it. I played it like a couple of nights ago. But still, two, three, it don't matter. It's too many. They put they put a few of these guys, a few of Mortal Kombat guys guest starring in the game, and it's just like, and what really upsets me, like, if you really are into the game like I am, they were gonna put Static Shock, but replaced him with Raiden. And it's like, but this universe is supposed to be DC. Like, I don't understand that replacement. That makes no sense, and it upsets me because everyone, like, a lot of people love Static Shock, and DC has kind of been uh losing the ball on Static. Like, it's like cool, like, it's really cool seeing him in is it Young Justice? Yeah. Where, like, cool, like, in the second one you really didn't get to see him, and in the third one he gets a bigger role, which is really cool. Um but, like, me and, like, the stuff that's going on into the world today, like, you it feels like these companies always do the black characters like that. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me that a lot of these fighting games um have, like, one, if you're lucky, two black characters. Like, speaking of, like, Mortal Kombat, like, why is Jax, like, now you got his daughter on there, but still, like, Jax on Mortal Kombat has literally been the only black character. Like, there's no other character. Like, I feel like in this like, but the thing about Mortal Kombat, which is really cool though, they have a lot of, like, Asians and other races on there too. But if you play stuff like Street Fighter, where Bulrog is the only black character, or you play Tekken when Eddie Gordo, now I think her name is Misty, because Eddie shows up once in a while, or sometimes they'll have both of them on, like, Tekken Tag, but, like, it's like they rotate the black characters in Tekken, and then they actually put that. There's actually two. If you play like me, I grew up on Tekken, and Eddie Gordo for the longest time was the only one, and I think five they ended up putting that black ninja or, like, assassin guy. I forgot his name, but he's cool. But, like, one or two is just like it it's crazy, man, and, like, like if you play like Def Jam, like they still have a good amount of white, like white playable characters on that game. It's not just all like because you have like white rappers that are part of the Def Jam. Like they had, like Latin rapper. They had a good mixture, which was a lot of people. I felt like that's the reason why a lot of people like Def Jam. Matter of fact, if I do a video on remakes, that either remakes or reboots. That game needs a remake and a reboot. Like, ah man, good times with that game, especially Def Jam Fight for New York. Man, that's the best one. But anyway, off topic. Back to topic. Um, Injustice, like, cause I mean, they end up Injustice 2. They end up adding Black Manta. You can use John Stewart as a skin, and there's Cyborg. And let's be honest, without those two guys, Cyborg's the only black dude on the game. So yeah, but the only thing that irks me about Injustice is that they didn't put they didn't put they didn't put Static Shock in it, not even as a downloadable character. Which, cause they finished the model for him. They did everything for him. They had everything for him ready, and then they decided to replace him with Raiden. I was just like, wow. And to me, they had one of the best downloadable the DLC content. So the downloadable content, because like you end up getting like the Ninja Turtles, Hellboy, Adam, Enchantress, Manta, uh, Sub Zero, and Raiden, and probably a couple of more. And the best thing about Ninja Turtles, you get all four in like they come as skins, but the skins come with different moves. So like the main skin is Leonardo or Leo, and then you get to switch up the skin, and the skins come. You get to place them in because like it's like a loot system, which I love. Um, I guess a lot of professional esports fighters don't like that because I guess you can give a person an advantage, which to me, if you're already good, if you're already on that level of esports, there's no way that I'm beating you, even if my character has like the top armor. Like your skill is gonna outshine mine. Like, um, but that's the only thing that irked me was they got rid of static. But they had a great. Everything else was just great about it. Like you read the comics, it makes it even better. Hopefully, there's been rumors going around last couple of days, couple of weeks, that Injustice 3 might be announced. So we'll see. Because if you haven't played the second one, it's kind of hard. Because like, when you beat it, you get to either choose to beat it as Superman or Batman. And both endings is kind of hard to to build from because you won't be able to use one or the other. I'm not gonna tell you how. I'm not gonna tell you what happens, but it's a good ending. Yeah, it had. I was tripping when I first finished it. So yeah, check that game out. This also goes up with its baby, Injustice: Gods Among Us. Now this one is really good as well. Um, it still plays the same. They fixed a lot of stuff. Like not fit, like, cause there's nothing really wrong with Injustice, Gods Among Us, but like certain combos you couldn't do anymore. Like, cause like I'm really good with Batman, and like I played the first one. First one came out when I was really young, so I played it religiously. So like Batman, regardless, um, when I first when I first popped in Injustice 2, it was like I didn't have to practice with Batman because I already knew, but there were certain things that I couldn't do anymore because they fixed it. They fixed, I guess, what they felt like wasn't necessarily a fair mechanic. And I'm not saying that what the mechanic was unfair, but at the same time, I can get like 4 or 5 extra hits off of you because you couldn't. Like once I hit you and I hit you up in the air, like I can hit my combo and do all kinds of stuff. Um, and then also too, they changed up Batman's combo because the first, like to me, the first combo is it's nasty. Like he tasers you, and then like he hits you with the taser, I think, and then he calls for his Batmobile, and then he does a flip over his Batmobile while his Batmobile runs you over, which is pretty dope. The second one, it's alright. Like he lunges at you, he ties you up, a, a balloon lifts you up into space or lifts you up in the air, and then his bat wing comes, starts shooting starts shooting you into the ground, and it's like that's cool, but I don't know. I just think the first one's better because I feel like the first one is more. I feel like it could take out. It's hard. It's gonna be hard to escape because like getting tased, but at the same time, it's like how you tase Superman. Like, and then also too, how can't Superman not escape? Because like I said, comic book explains how a human can pack enough punch or enough a hit to take out Superman, but I feel like he would still be bulletproof, at least, or like taser proof. But at the same time, now that I think about it, he Superman has had problems with like live wire, so that is a good debate. Because I feel like a taser. I mean, it's a Batman taser, so it probably has a whole bunch of watts, and he probably has one that's specially made for Superman. So yeah, that'd be a good debate. But man, the first one, the only thing that it doesn't have that the second one has is the loot system. So you have to play. I mean, there's different colored skins. Like I remember getting the Rising Sun skin for Superman, and also, or I got all three because I got Wonder Woman too. Because if you ever read the comic book, The Rising Sun or The Red Sun from Superman, Wonder Woman, she also, like, instead of being found by Steve Trevor, something like that. So she never, you know, found her way to America. Somehow she found in this story. Somehow she found it. She she's like a spokeswoman for Thanos Guerra, and she ends up meeting Superman, and she falls in love with Superman in Russia. So she ends up, you know, being, you know, instead of taking the mantle of an American hero, she took the mantle of a Russian hero. So she kind of gets their ideology because she's in love with Superman, who has the ideology too. And so there's a Red Sun, uh, Wonder Woman, and then there's the Red Sun Batman. So you get all three of those, and the Red Sun Batman is pretty dope because he comes with the winter hats that they wear, with the dog ears, and he just looks dope, man. It's probably one of the best looking model Batman I've seen. Uh, same with the Red Sun Superman. Like it's just weird. Instead of putting the S on his chest, he has like that's how much he loves. Cause like American Superman, he wears his S from his home world. This Superman decides to wear the like the pitchfork and the hammer and the star on his chest inside the little shield, which is interesting. Um, you also, I mean, Injustice Gods Among Us, their DLC is not anywhere close as good as the second one, but the second one, like alone, what makes up for it is you get to play with Lobo, and you can hit people with his bike, and it's pretty dope. You get Batgirl too, which is pretty dope. She has a pretty. I mean, from what I don't really remember. I haven't played in such a long time, but her combo was kind of weird, bro. Like, uh, they could have did better. But I respect them because they were trying to make her different from Batman instead of making her like just a female carbon copy. So like all her moves are she used different gadgets, different moves. I'm pretty sure there's probably more. I just don't remember. I don't remember who they used in their DLC packages. Because at that time, I was younger and I wasn't buying like the season passes at the time, so I won't have to waste money buying them later. I started doing that probably maybe 3 years later after they, because I was like, because I would play fighting games and then seeing like areas where those DLC characters are supposed to be and can't click them, and it used to upset me. So now I just say, hey, I'm just gonna just get whenever I get fighting games, especially, I just say I'm gonna get the season pass so I can get all the characters. But yeah, Injustice Gods Among Us is a great game, and it's like if if you play Injustice God Among Us, you really don't have to read the comics to understand the second one. But if you don't want to play Gods Among Us, you kind of need to read it because then you'll be kind of lost and kind of like, why is Superman this way? Why is Batman this way? How this happened? How this happened? Um, because the comic book really plays well in between the story. Now, the video game, like, the thing about it is, NetherRealms messed up when it came to the story on a couple of things because they were supposed to be going off the comic, or they're supposed to be the comic in the game is supposed to be one, and they just I don't know what happened, but if you play the first one and then you play the second one, it's not that big of a deal. But if you read the comics or you come across talks or whatever about the comics, it's frustrating. But yeah, it's still up there with Super because it's just a great franchise in general. Like I just don't I see nothing wrong with the games. And If you can tell me something that's wrong with the games, please let me know below, because I just think it's one. It's there's no such thing as a perfect game, but it's close. It's one of the greatest games I've ever played. Still own both of them, so I just I just don't. My PlayStation 3's in storage, and but this next game, this one's a hard one. Um, I think I might have to go with Iron Man 2, and the reason why is because they, to me, they did a really good job of utilizing Iron Man 2 Rogue Gallery. Um, the story is okay. Um, it's like the stuff that happens in between the movies. So it happens in between one and two. Um, it happens between one and two. Yeah, so I think this happens between one and two. Because you don't bump into Whiplash in this game. You fight everyone else, and then because I think this game came out before the movie, and then the movie came out, and because it pretty much like the movie pretty much talked about, like, it kind of had glimpses of what was going on in between one and two here and there, but and I think Iron Man 2 is kind of trying to show you what went on between that time, because I think I think Iron Man 2, you don't necessarily bump into Hammer, but you get to, I think he's trying to steal your 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 iron suit armor. Like there's like that's like the main story of the game is people are trying to steal your armor, because it's not just him, it's just a couple of people trying to steal your armor. Um to me, the game is just it's not fun, but it has a lot of good quality because the graphics on it are good. You get to play with his arm, like he has a couple of his armors on the game, which is cool. Um, it's just the fighting. The fighting makes it kind of like, and like I said, like the Batman free flow to me will work for any hero. Iron Man doesn't necessarily need it. He's not really gonna, with especially with the villains that he had to go up against on here. You're really not gonna go fist up because they're bigger version, bigger armor versions of him, like Crimson Dynamo and stuff like that, where you gotta kind of keep your distance and kind of shoot, because if they get a hold of you, it's a wrap. Um, Now, like, a free flow with Iron Man would be dope though, because then, like, say if he's fighting like a bunch of robots, which you do on the game, you can kind of punch a robot here, you rocket boot a robot here, repulsor beam, repulsor like repulsor blast. Like it'd be dope, but it doesn't really need it because, like I said, his power set doesn't really call for it as much. And you know what else really that makes me put in anti-hero is like you get to play with War Machine. I feel like War Machine is probably the most fun to play because all you like you get all of the missiles, the the minigun on his back, the miniguns on his wrist, the repulsor like he just has a whole arsenal to play with, which is really dope. So it's cool. Like I feel like the game took a lot from the comic books, which to me, like all they do to me is they gotta make it just more interesting. Like I just felt like flying around because most of the time you're just flying around and you're shooting robots and you're taking out factories that are trying to manufacture your stuff, and that's about it. And then you fight major, huge mechs, which all you're gonna do is because you're not gonna punch mechs, so it's not giant ones anyway. Like now, somebody that has a suit that's about the same size as you, maybe, but yeah, nah. Now, these two games right here, oh man, they're gonna make history. The first to go on Just Go Home. These games are just plain horrible. Like from the dialogue to the gameplay to the music, just everything. Like the only good thing I can say is they tried to do that the shell shaded comic book look, but other than that, it's just like the voice acting is so bad that like I was trying to like I was trying to figure out. I was googling it. I went on Wikipedia, whatever I could to figure out if Kick Ass was some kind of Latino because it's like you watch the movie, he's a he's a a white kid, but in the video game he sounds like he's Puerto Rican. So I was like, what? Like he like it is really bad, man. Um, what's worst about it is you really don't even have to like you don't even have to play the game to be honest. Like you can run like because the AI is so bad. If you run if you run around them, like if they don't see you and you run around them, they don't react to you. Or if you run away, they stop chasing you. And then you can just run around. But there's some parts where you have to fight them because if you have to beat them for a door to open. But other than that, you can go the whole game. You can speed run the whole game without really fighting, which is just it's just it's and then like the first one that I'm about to talk to you about right now is a little bit better because you at least you get to play with either Big Daddy, Hit Girl. You don't have to play with Kick Ass. And this in the second one you have to play with Kick Ass because in the beginning you're training. Your Hit Girl is training you but she's doing it over the phone and stuff like that. And I might be mistaken, because I watched this a while back. But you might be able to play with Hit Girl, but it's just so bad, bro. Uh, this game, it tried to do the free flow, but it was just horrible. It was just clanky. He ran weird. He did stuff, and I understand, like, he's not a professional. He hasn't been training, so he's gonna be kind of weird and awkward and stuff. But still, it was just bad. I can't say nothing much more about it, but his older brother's about to join him. Is about to join him and just go home. Like, the only, like I said, the only it plays a little bit better because, like, they're both made by two different companies, so they play a little different. The first one plays a lot better, so, like, in saying that, I'm gonna move it. But yeah, man, the only thing it's still really bad. And the only thing I can say that's really cool about it is you get to play with Big Daddy and you get to play with Hit Girl. And it's cool because it gives you a different ending if you beat it with Big Daddy. So it's cool. Other than that, it's just a horrible game. Uh, like, both games got no score on Metacritic, and then Kick Ass 2 got a user score of 1.3. That might be the lowest on this tier list. Hmm. Yeah, actually, the first game actually got a Metacritic score of 24% and a user score of 3.7. So, like I said, the first one is way better than the second one. Even shows in the scores in Metacritic. Um, so I have a couple of more minutes. I'm trying to keep all these videos about an hour. Uh, so I think I'm gonna go. I'm gonna do one. I'm gonna do one more, and these games go in super. Like, because the next couple of games are gonna be Lego, Marvel, and DC. Um, these are all good games, and they all have really well written stories too. Um, Lego Heroes, Marvel Marvel Heroes is cool because you get to play with almost the whole Marvel universe. Like, you, it's just it's like me who's a huge Marvel person, a Marvel fan. It it's great to be able to play with, like, the Fantastic Four, Spider Man, the Hulk, Thor, like, all the superhero teams that you necessarily don't see come come at each other in the MCU. Because the MCU, you think Marvel is just the Avengers, but there's a whole other universe out there. And I'm pretty sure people know. I mean, X-Men and Fantastic Four, who Fox did a horrible job with. Um, it's not their fault. Like, it's not the hero's fault that though Fox didn't understand them as characters. Um, but the story is really good. It's mainly the whole universe is going up against Doctor Doom, but then you find out it's not really Doctor Doom. It's Loki, who took over who was mind controlling Doom, which is crazy in itself because Doom is one of those characters where it's hard to mind control, do anything to, because he has that. He always has a con, con what's the word? Consistent, not consistency. Consistent, I forgot the word, but he always has a backup plan. He always has a plan A, a plan B for every scenario. Like, so it's an interesting story. Like, because you end up having to fight Galactus at the end. Because Loki's whole plan is just to involve Galactus. It's just a good story. That's one that you should check out. But yeah, of course. And you know what's crazy about this game? Because all like I think most Lego games are Warner Brothers, but like it's crazy to even think about a Warner Brothers creating a Marvel's game and doing a great job with it too. So, but yeah, that's gonna be it for this, and there's gonna be more parts. Cause I'm looking at how many games I got. It might be at least three more parts to this video or this tier list. Because I like talking about this stuff, so sometimes I get off topic. I know I'm gonna do a better job. I'm new at this. I just get so into talking to this stuff, and it reminds me of other stuff, or reminds me of good times or good things that other games have done, of other hero, or just what other media has done with this character or with that character. So I will try to fix that. If the hour's not working for you guys, I can try to make it 30 minutes. It's gonna be 30 minutes. Is gonna be long. Like not. It's gonna be a lot of videos, and even if I just keep to talking about the game that I'm posting in the tier list. So, but anyway, I go by the name of Jay. You guys stay up, keep safe, love one another, and I'll be back with you with part 3. Peace. Oh, let's reverse. Please like, please share, and please subscribe. Now, peace out. Peace.